Hi, welcome to YouTube. Ham and Omelets here with my very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. I've had several people request that I do this, so I'm finally doing it. By the way, I'm sorry for the quality of the video. It is through my phone, so just bear with me here. We'll start off with the monsters. We'll start off with the very first staple monster in this deck, and that's Fable Grimro. She's your level 4, 1700 attack. But if you have a face-up Fabled monster on the field, you can send her from your hand to the graveyard to take any Fabled monster from your deck and put it into your hands. Very awesome card. Now the next stable monster is Fabled Curse, one of my favorites. Now she's a level 2, and her effect is when she's discarded from your hand to the graveyard, she can special summon any level 4 or Fabled monster from your graveyard back onto the field. That's including your level 4 Synchro that you have, but I'll get to that later. Now the next one is Fabled Kashano. Now Kashano, I only have it 1. I tried using it 2, but I figured 1 was enough. But he is one of the best Fabled monsters in this game, especially if you need to start swarming. Now he's a level 3 tuner, and while he's in your graveyard, you can discard 1 Fabled monster from your hand to the graveyard to put him back into your hand. Now this next guy is the best tuner in the game. Well, for Fables anyway. He's a level 2, but if you discard, once per turn you can discard any number of cards from your hand to the graveyard to increase his level by 1 per card and his attack by 400 points per card. Now this next monster I've kind of been testing out to see how it works, but he's been working really well. He's in here due to the fact that Heavy Storm and Giant Tornado have both been banned and you can't use it, so you need to find other sources of spell and trap destruction. But he is exactly that for your Fable deck. If your opponent has 2 or more cards in his hand more than you do, you can reveal 1 Fabled monster from your hand, tribute him from the field to the graveyard, and destroy 2 spell or trap cards on the field. Now, Fables run a little bit like Infinities, to where you can actually run them off with 2 or less cards in your entire hand. So this guy, I've been testing him out, but he's been working really well. If you have 2 or less cards, this is a Fabled Uratos, and he's a level 4. And if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, then you can increase the attack of all Fabled monsters on the field by 400 attack points. So he himself, he goes from 15 to 19. Now this one is another staple card, and especially for light decks. Honest, I'd run 1 Honest, because that's all you can run. Now for a little extra draw power and a lot of more swarming, Morphing Jar. Morphing Jar is a very awesome monster. Now on to a couple more Fabled monsters. I am running Fabled Cerberus. Cerberus is a level 2 tuner for 1100 attack, or 1000 attack, I'm sorry. And his ability is, if he's discarded from your hand to the graveyard, he special summons back onto the field. So that's an instant level 2 tuner for you. I'm running 1 Fabled Chawa. Now he's a level 1 tuner, but he has a very nice ability. During your main phase 1, you can discard 1 Fabled monster from your hand to the graveyard to special him onto the field. Now another Fabled Garnatia. Very nice monster. He's a level 3, 1600 attack, but if he's discarded from your hand to the graveyard, he special summons back onto the field and increases his attack by 200 points. Now the downside of this monster is if he's summoned this way, he gets banished as soon as he's sent from the field to the graveyard. He'll instantly vanish. Now the next one is a nice monster. A lot of people don't like to use him, but I do. This is Fabled Noche. He's a level 2 Fabled monster, and you can special summon him by discarding a Fabled monster from your hand to the graveyard, which is very nice, but then he has a kicker effect if you choose to activate it. If you choose to activate a secondary effect, then you can special summon a level 2 or lower Fabled monster from your hand to the field. So you can do a lot of summoning with that. This next monster, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep, but he's been fairly working out well. It's the Tricky. By discarding one card from your hand, you can special summon him to the field. And he's a level 5. Now, that is for the basic monsters. So now we'll go to the spells and traps. I'll start off with the traps here. The first trap is I'm running one Beckoning Light. Now, I do have another sided in case if I do need to put another one into the deck. But for those who don't know what Beckoning Light is, you can activate it by sending your hand by discarding it from your hand to the graveyard. Then you can grab out an equal number of light monsters from your graveyard back to your hand, equal to the number of cards that you discarded. Now the next card I'm running is a single bottomless trap hole. Pretty obvious. I'm running one Call the Haunted because it's been working really well. I don't need any more than that. Now the next two cards I have, I am not sure if I'm going to keep that, but it hasn't really worked out for me yet, so I'm going to try something else in there, but it's Luminize. If your opponent declares an attack, you can negate the attack, and then select one light monster on your side of the field and increases attack equal to the attack of the monster you negated. Running two Mirror Forces, running really well too. Two Regeki Breaks. Now I'm doing this for hand control and destruction plus the discard abilities. You know, it's pluses all around, but it's Regeki Break. I'll get to later why I need the hand control. One Solemn Warning, obvious. Now in my spells, I am running a Dark Hole, of course. I'm running two Dark World Dealings. That's pretty obvious for the draw and discard ability. Foolish Burial. Now I am running Foolish Burial because I can shove several monsters into the graveyard that I really need to get out. You know, either for the curves or something else, but for the main reason is for Kashano. Kashano is what gets off a lot of your combos. One Mind Control. Monster Reincarnation. For the discarding and returning to the hand, this is pretty obvious for the deck. Two MSTs for spell and trap card destruction, of course. And a very awesome card I've been using is Photon Lead. Very awesome card. For a lot of those who don't know what it is, you can activate it. It's a quick play spell card. Special summon one level 4 or lower light monster from your hand and face up attack position onto the field. And that is a very awesome card. Now, I'm sorry for the brightness of this section because it's not reflecting well onto my phone from the CD. But if you can't see them, I'll go ahead and tell you what they are. For the first monster, let's start with off my low-level monsters. I have Armory Arm, because you can really synchro summon with low-level monsters with this deck. Now, the one staple monster I've been using, and it does defeat a lot of people because they do not know how to handle it, is Fabled Unicorn. Now, he is a level 4 Fabled Synchro. 2300 attack with 1000 defense. But his ability, you need one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters. But while he is face up on the field, if your hand size is equal to your opponent's hand size, then he negates all your opponent's spells, traps, and monster effects. Instantly negates. Now to the other Fabled Synchros, I have one Fabled Leviathan. He is a level 10 Synchro, 3000 attack with 2000 defense. But he has a very nice effect. If he is destroyed while he is face up on the field, if he's destroyed while he's on the field, then you can take up to 3 Fabled monsters from your deck, or I'm sorry, from your graveyard back into your hands. So you can recycle himself and recycle your other Synchros. I am running 2 Fabled Rangan. He is level 5 Synchro for Fables. 2300 attack with 1800 defense. But when you synchro summon him, you can activate the effect. You can choose to or choose not to. But if you do, when you synchro summon, if you've got 2 or less cards in your hand, you can draw from your deck until you have 2 cards. Now the last one I'm running, I'm only running one of, but that's Fable level 8. And all he is you discard a Fiend monster to draw a card. Now, the level 6 I'm running HTS Sidemit. I've just recently discovered him, and he's a very awesome monster. He is a very beefy version of DD Warrior Lady. But after damage calculation between monsters, you can choose to banish that card and this card. 1 Mistworm. Why not? He's a very awesome and powerful monster. 1 Scrap Dragon for field control. 1 Stardust Dragon. 1 TG Hyper Librarian. Now, for most people, you'll have a different variety set for your extra deck with this deck, but I choose primarily 4 synchros because they synchro like crazy. I don't use a lot of I don't use any XYZs in this deck because this deck is strictly synchros. I'm running Thought Ruler Archfiend for dimensional prisons and bottomlesses and all that. You cannot stop them. Level 5, Ally Justice Catasaur. Pretty obvious. Now this monster right here, my level 7, is the one that wins me a lot of duels. Because if you run it right, and you've got the field control, then you can summon him out and your opponent can't do nothing about him. But this Ancient Sacred Wyvern needs 1 light tuner or 1 or more non-tuner monsters. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, he gains attacks equal to the difference. He's a 2100. But there's a drawback to him. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, he decreases in attack. Now he does have a third effect. If he is destroyed by combat, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon him back onto the field. I'm running 1 Black Rose Dragon. That's pretty obvious. I believe that is it. I do not have a side deck for this yet. I have a few cards, but I'm still working on the side deck. But I hope you enjoy this deck profile. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave comments in the box below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And you guys have a nice day.